Hi everyone. Now today we're going to talk about illuminated letters. Now you've just learned what an illuminated letter is. So now I'm going to teach you how to draw one. And you can do any letter. Preferably you would do the first letter of your name, but really it doesn't matter. You could do any letter, whichever letter you want to draw. I'm actually going to do an A for my daughter Alice, and we'll hang it in her room when we're done. So the first thing you need to do when you're doing your illuminated letter is you need to draw your letter. And I like mine to be block letters or to have some space on the inside so that they can stand out. And so I'm going to draw my A. And I'm leaving space. I'm not doing it all the way to the edge. Let me get a fancy A here. There we go. So, and your letters don't have to be perfect. So, there's my A. Now that I have my letter, I can go ahead and start tracing it and adding pattern and detail. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace my letter. Instead of with black, I think I'm going to do mine with purple so that it's easier for you to see and it will stand out. So I'm going to trace my letter, and again, you can do this with any material. You don't have to use crayon. You can do colored pencil, marker, whatever you have, especially if you're working on these at home. Use the materials you have. I always use crayon because I feel like it's one of the easiest for people to get, but use whatever you have. And then I'm just going to erase that pencil line there. All right, so now that I have my letter, illuminated letters weren't just a block letter. They had patterns inside and outside, and most of them had a border around it too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and define my border, and then I'll start filling it up with pattern. And the patterns can be as simple or as detailed as you would like for them to be. It's completely up to you. I'm going to use a ruler. You don't have to use a ruler. I'm just going to use one. I'm going to use a ruler to keep my line straight, but you do not have to use a ruler. I'm going to put my ruler down. And if it's okay if my letter overlaps the line a little bit, it will just look like it's on top of the border. Then I'm going to use the ruler on this side, lining it up with the edge of the paper. And then I will do it across the top. And across the bottom. So there's my border. And my border can have any type of pattern you want in it. It's completely up to you. Like I said, a lot of the patterns we looked at were Celtic patterns. If you looked at the slideshow earlier, and it showed lots of different patterns. So maybe I would do, I'm going to use a green. So, and again, you can draw all your patterns with pencil first if you want to. I'm just trying to save time and make it easier for you to see. Let's say I do this pattern. This is a pretty popular Celtic pattern. You start with 2 loops, one here and one here. Then you loop it down, and you loop this one down. And then this is going to curve like this. This one's going to curve like this. Then you're going to loop it again and loop it again. And it will curve and curve around. And there's lots of different ways of drawing patterns. You don't have to do it the way I am. Like I said, you can do any pattern you want. Of course, this one's going to loop here. You wouldn't see the curve on that one. And then down here to the bottom, like that. So there's that pattern. Whatever I do on this side, I have to do on this side. So you do want your patterns to be symmetrical. So symmetrical, remember, means the same on both sides. So whatever pattern I do here, I need to do over here as well. like that. So try and keep them symmetrical. It doesn't have to be the same pattern all the way around. It can be if you want. You can do complicated patterns like this. You could do something very simple. You could do a really simple zigzag pattern. So let's say I just do a zigzag pattern here. But if I do it up here, I need to do it down here. So I'm going to do the same thing. And then you can draw a picture in the corners. You can make another pattern in the corners. Completely up to you. Like I said, this project has a lot of personal choice in it. And I like projects that do that because then everyone's project looks different. They all don't all look exactly the same. We won't always have that option, but when we do, I like for you to do it where you show your own personal choice. And so once you have your patterns for your border, you can go ahead and start coloring them in, or you could draw everything and wait and color everything in at the end. I'm going to go ahead and color some of my patterns here. And show you kind of how I'm going to get started on it. Now my letter also needs a pattern in my background. You can keep it simple. You don't have to do a crazy pattern in your background. You notice I'm using mostly cool colors. I might swap that up and use some warm colors for the background of my letter. And maybe I do a circle pattern around the edge of my letter. You can do it just on one side, or you can do it all the way around. There you go. And then you could add more to it. You could add some more lines. I could add just a line pattern around it. Now I did my circles all the way around my A, but the line pattern I'm going to try and keep in the frame. So it's not going to go on the outside of my frame here. It's just going to go on the inside. And I can keep repeating that line pattern over and over with different colors to really make it stand out. Or I could just color my background one pretty color. So maybe I just want to color my background yellow. And I just color my background. Of course, I want you to color yours as neatly as you can. I'm trying to color very quickly so that it doesn't take up too much of your time with my coloring, but I do expect yours to be neat. Mine is just an example. So I've colored it in. Then maybe I'll use one of the purples. And I can color in my purple, and I'm going to color in my purple lightly. My letter A, I'm going to color it purple, but I'm going to color it lightly because I might want to go back and add another pattern on top of my letter. Now, for my older kids, if my older kids are doing this, this is a good project for younger ones just to practice with your patterns. For my older kids, what I would really love to see you do is like some of these examples. I would really like to see you using the letter of your name and using other images that come with that letter to design your letter. So when I say other images that come with that letter, so for A, I could have done different types of flowers that start with A all over this. I could have done apples, and maybe I will do apples in the corner. Try and come up with other things that start with A that you can add to your picture to make it look like there's a theme to it. And so maybe I would add an apple here. And an apple here. And my little leaf. All right, then you could do acorns or whatever. I mean, just come up with something fun. But I do want you to color everything. So you can come up with a theme, or you could just do it yourself and just do patterns. But I do want you to come up with a theme for your picture. And remember, your picture has to have a letter with a pattern around it, or a picture around it, and needs to have a border that is well done and colored. And everything should be colored in. You shouldn't have any white spaces left on your paper when you're done. If you look at the ones that we've looked at before, they were very busy. Now, I'm not expecting you to come up with something as busy as those, but there was no empty blank space left. Most of them were completely full of pattern and line and color. Now maybe I'll do a little acorn, because acorn starts with an A. I'll draw a little acorn down here. Maybe I'll do an acorn up here too. Remember, I'm trying to keep it symmetrical, so it's not the exact same, but for my corner pieces, I'm doing opposite corners. There we go. And you'll just keep coloring and keep practicing your patterns or your images. I'll do another one and show you a picture of it at the end of something that you could do that uses the same color and the same images that go with the letters. So like A would be acorns, or B, you could do birds and butterflies on it, or bluebells, or a type of flower. So whatever your name started with, you would need to come up with something that started with the same letter, and use that in your pattern, in your design. Now, I don't expect my younger kids to do that, but my older kids definitely could. I think y'all are smart enough and capable enough that you could come up with some really cool designs. All right. I will just finish this, and then I will see y'all next time.